All right, welcome everybody to week 14, day 2. We're going to continue our exploration of Quake. I'll probably put up a quiz on the kind of stuff I talk about today. Just to make sure you guys are paying attention to it. Get some points also in that category. Because currently we don't have a whole lot in the modding category of grading, so put some points on the board right there. First step, launch the server. Boom. Let's launch Rock 2. Rock 2 is one of the top maps of all times, and then we will launch the client. You might notice I don't have a video camera today. That is because in the middle of the previous class, it died. It just died right in the middle of class. Didn't touch it or anything. All right, let's switch it over to... There we go. I'll have to leave the lecture if it goes overtime. It shouldn't go overtime. Okay. All right, so you guys should be able to join in on me. So go ahead and fire up Quake, connect csi4x.asuscom.com. Go ahead and join in on this right now. And I will give you guys an overview of the map. So this is a capture the flag map in which you do not actually bring the flag back to your base. So what you do is you go into the enemy base and you go to the left side of their base and take the flag and run it over to the right side of their base and capture the flag there. And so the flow of play in this game is quite interesting. Rather than having this whole long route that you have to run it back to your base, which allows the enemy offensive team to have a shot at you as well. In Rock 2, the enemy offensive team is over in the other fortress doing their thing, and all you have to do is run around in their base and deal with their defense and capture the flag that way. And so you are going to spawn, usually you spawn in one of, you usually spawn off the courtyard here. The courtyard is kind of the center point of your base, and there is one spawn point on the right side. There's another spawn point on the left side. And you can tell which one it is based on when you walk out, if you have to hook a left, you're on the left spawn point. And if you can see right when you walk out, then you are in the right spawn point, like that. So you can tell immediately which way you're facing. It's actually a little bit of asymmetrical design that is quite smart. Otherwise, if you were looking at it this way, you wouldn't know, you'd be disoriented. And so what they do is they moved the one of the spawn points slightly so that you would know immediately which side you were on. There's also a third spawn point over the entrance here. And so there's a spawn point here, and you can look down, and this is the entry point to the base. So you got 6 people spectating right now. Okay, so I'll just show you an overview of the map. So let's say that you are on offense, and you spawn right here, okay? So you would run, jump out, might take damage, or if you're clever, you can slide down the thing here if you want. Go out the front door. Now you're in the sniper zone. So there is a sniper balcony on each base. These maps reflect the game, right? The game has snipers in it. And so good maps will put an area for snipers to hang out, and they can shoot at everybody leaving the enemy base. You can only leave the base here or here. So snipers can control the center area quite well. The water, slows you down, and so you're sitting ducks for snipers if you have to swim through it. And you might also notice down here in the water, there is an alternate entrance to the base. And so if you really want to go slow, you can actually swim underneath to the other side and bypass the snipers that way. It's a really slow process though. And pretty good chance you drown. Yeah, pretty good chance you drown. But you can buy Scuba Gear if you want. Okay, So let's say you've made it into the front door of the enemy base. This is a choke point right here. Boom. You walk in here. There is balconies all along the top side here. And there's a balcony right here overlooking it. So defenders can sit right here. The people walk in through the front door, and you set off your pipe bombs. You shoot them. You build sentry guns here and here and here. And you build a sentry gun up here. And this spot right here is very lethal to come in. Defense will typically try to hold that point very strongly. People can also sometimes come in through the sniper balcony. It's actually impossible to rocket jump up. If you rocket jump up this way, you hit the underside of the balcony. So you have to be, at least with a simple rocket jump. But if you are good, you could rocket jump up here and then rocket jump into here if you're like talented. But you are going to shoot yourself twice with a rocket launcher to do so. Then you can come in and you can kind of go in through the back way. This area up here is usually not well defended by the defense because they're usually focused on holding the door. And so normally when you walk in, you're going to come through the door here. These are elevators that only the defending team can take. You walk up here, and here is your second choke point. This is a giant choke point. This is where most of the defense takes place. There is a light. This is a prison yard. It's called The Rock, based on the movie. You can see that there are floodlights here and here. And these floodlights actually activate if an enemy spy walks in. So, well, technically any enemy. But if you're a spy and you walk in, you will see the light shine on you. It doesn't hurt you. It doesn't reveal you. But it lets the defense know if you're just like a spy walking in by yourself, bloop, light turns on, and then they shoot you. It's not connecting. It just says loop. It says connecting to ASIS. Not connecting, you say, huh? Alright, let me check the... Oh, it's because I have the VPN turned on. Sorry. I'm going to have to reboot. Yep. Quit. And quit. I was wondering why you guys weren't connecting. Alright. Turn the VPN off. And now that it's off, we can run the server again. And run the client again. So just send a message to some of the people that work on Custom TF, and so they might join in as well. All right, so let's switch you over. So are you in, Jonah? Yes, okay, good. So we've got 2 students in out of the 6 that are online right now. So everybody else, please download the game and connect to the server. Okay, so let me rerun through that. So you leave your base. You go out through your doorway, you go through the sniper zone of doom, where the snipers can kill you. You go in through the first choke point, then there's 2 paths left and right. You go through the second choke point, and then you hook left. And so you come in left, there is a spotlight right here as well. It will turn on for spies and really anyone on the enemy team. You walk into the left here, and then you enter what's called the Warden's office. And so the Warden's office looks like it has nothing inside of it, but there is a bookshelf here. If you walk through the bookshelf, you will see that's the flag, the spinning blue key thing. You pick up the flag, you run it back to the courtyard. There's alternative paths, left and right. Like most of these maps, they provide alternatives to the choke points. You run across the courtyard, which is a big open area. Oftentimes the defense focuses heavily on the courtyard because everything comes through here one way or the other. And you run across the courtyard to the other side, and then you run in, and through the long series of very long, narrow corridors, you run to the end, and you hit the switch here. If you have the key to the switch goes down. Inside of here is VX gas, and it kills everybody on the map that is not protected. You're safe inside of here. Everybody else, though, has to get a hazmat suit. And so at different places around the map, you will see that there is the nuclear symbol. Those things open up when gas is about to be released. You run into them, grab a gas mask, and you will not be killed. So these gas masks are in periodic places through the map. There's only one of them, and so if your teammate grabs one and you don't, then you die. The other way of becoming safe from the gas is you jump in the lake. If you jump in the lake, then the gas does not kill you. So it's not tear gas, it is VX gas. So it is death nerve gas. And so you can see at different points, basically each of the different branches of the corridors has one, sometimes two different gas masks in them. There's only like 5 or 6 total in the world. So basically after gas is released, there's one there too. Yeah. After gas is released, then you're given a few seconds to run to get a gas mask. If you don't get it, you die and you respawn. So that's the game. Every capture I think is 10 or 15 points, and first team to 100 points wins. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people in. How do we get out of timeout? You tried walking into an enemy spawn zone. Go to the console and type kill. Yep. I'm not alive. I can't die. I'm in spectator mode right now. Yep. Alright, so who is not in right now? We got Collins. We got... Yeah, let's just join a team. I'll play as a engineer, I guess. Okay. So we got Kearney, Jonah, Collins, Vacalar, Leo. That's 5 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there are 3 people that still need to join in, please. We need Ramos, Stalin, Hayburn. Collins? No, Collins is in. Yeah. Yeah, so Ramos, Hayburn, and Dahlin need to join in. So this weapon is called the Railgun. The Railgun actually goes through walls. I think, did I add that? I might have. I know it was supposed to go through walls originally. In the source code it says it's supposed to go through walls. And I think I actually changed it so it did actually go through walls. So the Railgun does not do nearly as much damage as like in Quake 3, but it does go through walls. And so if you know like where an enemy sentry gun is, you can shoot through the wall. This weapon is based on Eraser, which was an old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, where there was a railgun weapon that could shoot through a wall. Backlight caltropped himself to death. Sweet. Ammo resupply. Is there enough cells in there? There is. Thank you. And so I can... one of the features I added to Custom Team Fortress was to turn sentry guns into... not quite enough. To turn sentry guns into turrets. And so you can actually flip a turret upside down and attach it to the ceiling. For anyone else that gets that problem, go to Options, Graphics, Preset. Nice. Oh, thank you. I needed that ammo. Thank you very much. Thank you. I need more cells. Thank you very much. Okay, so then I come over here, upgrade it to level 4. I added level 4 sentry guns to custom TF as well. Basically has more health, but you can only upgrade to level 4 after it's killed people. So normally in Team Fortress you can only upgrade to level 3. So I said, you know, it'd be fun if we made it so that upgrading was based on being able to kill people, like it's about to kill the medic there. Good. Oh, I don't have the turret upgrade. Damn it. It's unfortunate. All right. There's a laser door? Yeah, it's a security system. And if you try walking through it on the other side, you go to jail. You can walk through it on your side. No. Jonah killed my level 4 sentry gun. Same team, same team. So click to respawn, Lave. Damn it. Type kill. Go to the console and type kill. Alright, so now that I've built a teleporter to their base, I can just step on the teleporter and transport to their base and get across there much quicker. So that allows me to put more pressure on the enemy side. Okay, so I just released the gas, 15 points to our side. So either jump in the lake or get a gas mask. You got 3 seconds left. Whoever user 7 is and user 6. So if you have the console open already, Dolan, then just type name at the console and type in your new name. So the Tesla guns are a customizable sentry gun. You can choose to upgrade their range, you can choose to upgrade their range, their damage, and their health separately from each other. So basically, like I just dropped a Tesla that doesn't need a lot of range, so I'm upgrading its health and its damage instead, because it doesn't need range. But if I was going to put one into the courtyard again, like I did last time, I didn't have enough range on it, so it was just kind of sitting there, not doing anything useful. I'm on your team. So right now I'm hacking the security camera that I put up in the enemy base. Engineers have the hacker profession. And so by hitting X, I can bring up my profession menu. If you're a demo man, if you hit X, it'll throw a landmine on the ground, which is like a automatic det pipe kind of thing. Taekwondo challenge, that's funny. If two people with Taekwondo kick each other, then it instigates a duel. Just oh, you just walked into jail. Yeah, motion sickness can be caused by not having enough frames per second. I've turned off bobbing, and normally the thing kind of what is it? Bob. Like there's no. Jeez. Normally there's bobbing, or like the gun does this really weird thing. I like it. And normally when you strafe left and right, it tilts. It walks left and right. I've got that turned off as well. Alright, so they destroyed my Tesla. Now Jonah's in defending the flag. It's so rough. Yeah, so Rock 2 is a classic map design. There's a number of, not secrets exactly, but kind of secrets in it. If you try to go through the middle branch of the courtyard, you'll find what's called the generator room. The generator can only be destroyed. Damn it. The generator can only be destroyed by the assault cannon, the ass cannon. Falcolar has our key. No. And then in the water area, you can't actually take the water route until you get a demolitions pack in there. So somebody playing as a demo man can swim underneath the water. They can blow open a secret entrance underneath the water to the other base. And then you come out in the shower room. Right there. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Vacular, you're not supposed to take the key back into your base. You need to take it across to the other side. So you need to run it from one side of the courtyard to the other side of the courtyard. Frags are your kill count. So every time you kill somebody, you get a frag. It's your points in the game. So the game ends when one person gets 100 points. So currently you're at -2, I guess, from... because you've blown yourself up a couple times. Yeah. So the best way of getting points stuff is actually to go into the enemy base and run their flag. So go to the left side of the courtyard, grab the flag in the Warden's room, run it to the right side, and get 15 points. Actually, our flag right now is somehow in your base, which it should not be. In Rock 2, you should not bring the flag back to your base. Is the map really big? It's fairly big, yeah. So I've got a number of defenses set up in the enemy base. Which is, I suppose, a little bit mean. Dahlin successfully defended the flag. Dang it. Dang it. Yep, you killed me with a grenade launcher. And so what you can do stuff is you can if you hit the mouse wheel down, that'll switch you into pipe bombs. And pipe bombs allow you to control when the grenades go off. a little bit more useful. So if you mouse scroll down, it'll say pipe bomb mode enabled, and then you can hit and then I think it's like comma. If you hit the comma key, that'll set off your pipe bombs. So throw down a bunch of pipe bombs like behind a doorway or something, and then when a bad guy walks in, hit comma, and it will detonate them. Oh, it looks like everyone's frozen. What happened here? It's like we're playing Control all of a sudden. You guys still here? Hello? Hello? Oh, my internet went out. Hello? Hello? Yeah, if you disconnect, you lose your score, which is probably something that could be fixed, you know. All right, and that's the game. All right, so let's go ahead and quit out. Okay, so what did you guys play as in the game today? What did you try out? Pyro? How similar is it to the Pyro in TF2? Yeah, Pyro changed pretty significantly in TF2. Yeah, the rocket's a big change. The Incendiary Cannon, the rocket launcher for the Pyro, isn't like a really great PvP tool. It's slower, does less damage than the normal rocket launcher, but it has the benefit of having a slightly bigger radius, so you don't have to be very accurate with the Pyro. And a lot of the damage it does is a damage over time. So the way that, let's see, last time we were looking at the weapons.qc. So last time we looked at the fire rocket code. Let's see, make rocket. There we go. And so the code to make the Incendiary Cannon, the Pyro thing, you can see it's significantly slower than the rocket launcher. The rocket launcher moves at a speed of 900 centimeters a second, 90 meters a second, and the Incendiary Cannon is 6.5 meters a second. You can't see? Okay. Screen 2, go live. Okay, let's try that. So the rocket launcher is significantly faster. It's like quite a bit faster, almost about 50% faster. The Incendiary Cannon, all the rest of the code is basically the same. The only difference is the function that gets called when it hits something is incendiary touch versus missile touch. The model is the same. The death message is different. That controls which message gets printed. So-and-so gets burned to death, whatever. But yeah, and so let's take a look at T incendiary touch. Control-Shift-F, and it will find whatever we have highlighted across all the different files in VS Code. And we can see that this is actually not in weapons.qc, it is in pyro.qc. So if we come over here and look through the scripting language for the Pyro rocket launcher, the Incendiary Cannon, this is a different function than the one that gets called when the rocket launcher hits somebody. So for example, if you impact somebody, it only does 20 to 40 damage. The rocket launcher did, 100 to 120. So impacting somebody directly with the Incendiary Cannon does a little bit of damage, but not very much. However, the nice thing about it is it finds everybody. It doesn't have that fall off. So a rocket launcher, like I said last time, the rocket launcher does radius damage, and radius damage has a radius equal to the amount of damage it does. So for every point of damage you do, the radius goes up by a centimeter, or something like that, or a meter? No, what would it be? There's some conversion there. So like 100 damage would be a meter? No, it's got to be bigger than that. There's some conversion factor. But basically, there's no fall off on the Incendiary Cannon. Rather than doing that, the radius damage thing, what it does here is it finds everybody within the radius of 180 centimeters, or what unit is that? It's not a centimeter. It's like a decimeter or something like that. I don't know. It finds everybody within a fairly decent radius and around the origin. This is the location of the rocket. So when the rocket hits something, it calls incendiary touch. It then finds everybody within 180 units of the rocket. Do you guys understand this? This is one of the core. This is one of the core things you need to know in order to do Quake modding. It's find radius. Find everybody around a point. Okay? You guys with me? And this will return literally everything in the game engine within 180 units of the rocket when it explodes. It returns something called a linked list, actually. And so while this is kind of a pointer to the first object found, while that pointer is not null, it will do something, which we'll get to in a second, and then it will say go to the next in the linked list, and it will loop across this linked list until the pointer is null. But basically this is, if you don't understand that, if you haven't taken Computer Science 41, it's not a big deal. Basically just copy and paste this template here, right? Find everybody within a certain number of units of me, and then copy and paste this, and what it'll do is it'll go through head. Head will be each object one at a time in the world. So if there's 3 players nearby, the first time through, head will be the first player. Next time through the loop, head will be the second player. The next time through the loop, head will be the third player. And then after that, it'll quit and move on down here. So this will basically say for each person within 180 units of me. Does that make sense? And so head is the current person or object that we're processing. So if the thing we're processing can't take damage, skip over it. If it can't take damage and it's got health, so we don't set corpses on fire, that's what that's for, because otherwise corpses would be set on fire. Ignore that. So this is what it does. So if we can set the person on fire, then we damage them. We do 15 damage to them. And this goes through walls. find radius goes through a wall. So this will find everybody, even on the backside of a wall. If you're underneath a sniper roost, you can shoot the bottom of the sniper roost, and it will set the snipers on fire through it. It is a tactically very interesting weapon. It does not do a lot of damage. The impact of hitting somebody directly with the slow rocket is negligible. It's 20 to 40 damage. And then when you set them on fire, it only does 15 damage, which is negligible. Even a sniper, which is not a tough class, has 160 life total, something like that, kind of health and armor. So yeah, it doesn't really do a lot of damage. And however, what it does do is it sets them on fire. So it will call this function here, which sets them on fire. And so it does a little bit of direct damage when you get hit by it, but then basically they get lit up and they're going to start taking damage over time. And so that is the function there to set somebody on fire. And so I hit Control-Shift-F again, so we're going to see where that is. Look for the equal sign. That's the definition. Okay. So Napalm Touch. If the other takes damage, we do a little damage to him. And let's see, what I'm trying to find is flame. Let's see. Head Napalm Touch. The flamethrower? Napalm Grenade. So Napalm Touch, if the other is not the world is the world, like the map. You don't want to damage the map. It will actually crash the game if you try doing damage to the map. Let's see here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. So, what is flame? I'm trying to see where flame is coming from. Here we go. Okay. So what it's going to do, it's going to spawn a flame on them. And this function here will actually attach a flame graphic to them. And then that flame is set to periodically do damage to somebody. So first big thing we've learned today is radius, right? So find radius. So find radius is the first thing we've learned. It returns all entities within this radius of this origin. Now we're going to learn how to make a timer. So if you want to do right down here, a timer. If you want to have something happen periodically, timer on entity, set its think and set its next think. So what does that mean? So this will spawn a new entity called flame. It's given a health that's basically how many seconds it's going to burn for. The intensity of the fire on somebody can go up. So if you keep setting them on fire over and over again, the amount of damage they take per second actually will go up. And it sets the velocity of the flame to match their velocity, so it'll move with them. They are given. They're told who they've lit on fire. They have a touch function, so that if anybody touches the flame, they will burn as well. So if you run up and stick your face on somebody's fire, you will take damage as well. The person who set you on fire, the pyro who set you on fire, is the owner, so that they get credit for the kill. Their origin is set to be the origin of the player. They just got hit on fire. And this is what I wanted to show you. Okay. So touch and think and trace are the three big things, and we saw how to do that in Unreal Engine, and now we're going to see how to do this in the Quake C scripting language. So trace line we haven't looked at yet, but think is, what this means is time is the current time. It might be 5 seconds in, 10 seconds in, whatever. So if the current time is 10 seconds in, what this code here says, at time 10 plus 0.1, 10.1, call this function. Okay? And so for a timer, what a timer does is it constantly sets itself to run every, in this case, every 10th of a second or something like that. So flame follow. So flame follow at the very bottom here. So when that function gets called, it sets its next thing to be 10.2, right? And then at time 10.2, it runs again, and it sets its next thing to be 10.3. And so what this does is it will periodically do a damage over time effect. So 10 times per second, it will burn the player. And it will check to see, you know, if as it burns the player, it let's see if it kills the other player, it puts itself out. Let's see, how do we? Yeah, and then it will lower its health by 1. So as it burns the player, it slowly puts itself out as well. So if its health ever hits 0, then it destroys itself. Otherwise, what it does is it basically constantly reattaches itself to the player. If the enemy is moving fast, then it doesn't display itself. This is vector length. So do you guys remember that from Unreal Engine? So if the size of the enemy velocity is less than 50, if they're not traveling very fast, then the flame will appear on them, and it will randomly dance around. It will randomly move around on their body. Otherwise, if they're moving quickly, it just hides itself. If you walk into water, the flames go out. So if you're on fire, the best way of putting out the fire is to jump into water. Water level 1 is like ankle to knee depth. That's not enough to put it out. Water level 2 is like up to your chest. That's enough to put it out. And water level 3 means you are fully submerged. So you can have things work on how deep a person is in water. Then the timer will run again a 10th of a second later. So it will constantly damage, and update itself on the player at 10 times a second. It then damages the enemy. Again, the intensity, this tracks how many flames they have on them. And so as they get more and more flames on them, they take more and more damage. So the flames times 0.3 times damage time. So there's some algebra to figure out. But basically, the more flames they have, the more damage you take. And then self effects equals EF, right? Heat equals heat plus 1. And so what does that do? Self heat equals 1. If it's greater than damage. Oh, I see it. It periodically will kind of flash and things like that. Okay. I see. No, this is how often. It doesn't actually apply damage to the person every frame. So it'll periodically damage the person. But it's actually not 10 times a second. It's actually whatever that's set to. There. So that's kind of how a timer works. Another example of a timer would be like, let's see if we can find the Merv Grenade. Okay. So Merv Grenade explode. Shift F. Okay, so like as you guys found, when you right-clicked, it will prime a grenade. And there's one function that handles all the grenades, right? Okay. So when you right-click, it's going to call Team Fortress Prime Grenade. Okay. So when you right-click, it's going to call Prime Grenade. And so you right click, and what this does, it's going to create a timer that says in 3 seconds, explode the grenade, right? So when you hold it down, it's going to set on the player a flag saying that you've got the grenade primed. You pulled the pin out. And I've got different anti-spam things, so you can't just right-click really fast. It figures out what kind of grenade you're throwing and make sure you have enough grenades for them. If you do, let's say that you're going to throw a Merv Grenade. A Merv Grenade is a really fun grenade. It's a grenade that explodes into other grenades. So let's say you hold down right-click and you've got this. So it's going to print Merv Grenade primed, GS. So it's going to print Merv Grenade primed, and it's going to tell you 3 seconds to go. And then it decrements how many grenades you have left in your inventory, sets the time that you pulled the pin to the current time. If it's grenade 2, it does the same thing, except on your second grenade instead. So it decrements your second grenade inventory count that way. If you don't have any grenades left, it'll just say you've got no grenades left. It then says you currently are holding a primed grenade, and look, here is what I wanted to show you. So this is how you start a timer. It's a little bit different from timers in Unreal Engine. In Unreal Engine, they have a specific timer class, and you can say, you can give it a function and say, in 3 seconds, call this function. Basically the same idea. Basically exactly the same idea. So, but what you do in Quake C is you spawn an entity. This is the same thing as spawning a rocket or spawning a player. Anytime you have anything in the world, you just call spawn, and it creates an empty entity that does absolutely nothing. So that just creates a blank entity, and then you can turn that blank entity into a timer, or a monster, or a rocket, or a nail, or an ammo pickup, or anything. So spawn just creates a generic invisible object in the world. There is a limit to the number of objects you can have spawned in the world. It's somewhere on the order of 200 or 300, something like that, 400, I don't know. So you need to be careful not to just willy-nilly spawn stuff. It can actually crash the server, which is one of the reasons why I put in the spam grenade protection. So anything that puts a lot of projectiles into the world, I limit how many there can be out to keep the game from crashing. I set the owner of the grenade to be myself, so I get credit for killing people with it. The type of grenade it is Merv in this case. I say class name. This is how classes work in Quake C. So if you've taken CSI 40, CSI 41, you're familiar with the notion of a class. In Quake C, there are no classes. Everything is just an entity. Everything's an entity. They're all the same type. There's very few types in Quake C. Entity is one of them. So everything's an entity. So if you want to have a class, like a timer or a monster or a player, then it's just a string. You just say, you are a player, you are a timer, you are a whatever. And so you just have a string saying what class it is. It's very simple. The thing will activate in 0.8 seconds. So the current time, if the current time is 20 seconds, then at time 20.8, whatever function we put here will activate. Okay. We write down the time the grenade is going to happen. And then, so in 0.8 seconds, it's going to call this function here. So grenades cannot be primed for 0.8 seconds. So basically you pull the pin and then they're not actually primed until 0.8 seconds later. This stops people from spamming grenades too quickly. So you click and 0.8 seconds, like if you just clicked and released immediately, the grenade will not come out for 0.8 seconds. So in 0.8 seconds, call this function, which is this one right here. So all this code up here does is it just spawns a new timer that says, hey, I'm making a Merv grenade, and in 0.8 seconds, call this function here. Okay, so in 0.8 seconds, this function gets called. We grab the owner, which was set here, the player, me, and if they die and things like that, then we handle that. This should never happen, but you can see how many times we tried fixing some bug, like where like people would like click really fast, and it would these flags would be set and unset and get into a bad state, and so you can see how many times often tried fixing this bug here. I wonder if you'd be interested in watching the stream. Huh? Oh, I'm not streaming, am I? Yeah, never mind. Okay, so so a little bit of kickback on the user. Okay, so we're creating a new grenade right here. Right now, we are the timer. So we are the timer right now. So in 0.8 seconds, this function gets called. Self, we, us, is the timer object. So you'll see probably down here, the timer is going to go away. At the very bottom of that, so it creates a timer. 0.8 seconds later, it calls this function here, and then it just removes itself. And so that is a very simple way that you can run a function at some duration in the future. So basically all this code up here does is say in 0.8 seconds run a function, and then that entity spawned goes away after the function runs. So in 0.8 seconds, do something. Okay, so this code here, this is what actually makes the grenade. So again, it spawns a blank entity. It sets the owner to be the owner of the timer. It gives it a move type of bounce. This here, there's only a limited number of move types in the idTech 1 engine. Last time we saw with rockets, we saw move type fly. Move type fly creates a rocket that doesn't obey gravity. It just travels in a straight line through the world. Move type bounce is like throwing a rock. It'll move in an arc through the world, and when it hits a solid object, it'll bounce. And so this is the correct move type for a grenade type object. We say it is a solid object. We give it a type. Its class is grenade. We have it rotate. Well, not quite yet, but we get the V angle. This is the view angle. This is how you get the camera. This is the direction the camera is looking. So whichever way the player is looking right now, make vectors. What this does is this sets the forward, up, and right vectors, right? So after we do this, we can say vector forward, right? So vector forward is actually a global. This is actually a global variable. And so it only gets set by calling the make vectors function here. So that if you want to get the forward vector, the up vector, or the right vector, then you call make vectors. If we're dead, if the grenade goes off when we're dead, then the grenade will actually appear on our corpse. It's actually kind of cool. This is something that a lot of modern video games don't do, and it kind of bothers me. Because if you pull the pin on a grenade, the grenade's going to go off. You know what I mean? Grenade's going to go off. And so you pull the pin and you die. Okay, well, then it is going to simply grab your up vector. No, it's not. It just goes up. So it just throws the grenade straight up out of your corpse. So basically you die, and then you'll see this little grenade like pop up out of their body and then fall down. And we do that so you can see the grenade, right? If you kill somebody, there's this little like bloop, and it's like they die and they kind of just go, and they just kind of just toss the grenade up a little bit. And so you can see it and then start running away because you know the grenade's about to go off. You know what I mean? So that's something I wish more games would do. Otherwise, it will throw the grenade in the direction the player is looking. So the direction the grenade's going to go in is equal to the direction we're looking times 600. So 600 units per second forward. And then we add a little bit of an arc to it. So it goes up a little bit. So even if you're looking straight forward, the grenade will be thrown upwards at an arc. And then there is, grenades are not perfectly random. So there is a little bit of wobble. So the grenade will come out between 10 degrees to the right, 10 degrees to the left, 10 degrees up, 10 degrees down. So there's a little cone. There's a 20-degree cone that you actually throw the grenade in. because there's no particular reason why you should have perfect, pixel perfect precision with a grenade, right? You're throwing a grenade. And this actually matters sometimes, right? Like, if you're trying to hit a sentry gun or something, and you need it to throw between around a corner or something, like, this actually does matter. If somebody's been affected by a scion attack, the grenade comes out at 30% strength. So you go, you just get this really lame grenade throw, and it can quite possibly blow you up. It's quirky? What do you mean it's quirky? Realism, yeah. And then angles, this is the rotation, right? So the origin, so every object in the world has an origin, which is its position. It's got a velocity, and it's got a rotation. And so we set the rotation of the grenade to be equal to vector angles. Basically, you give it a velocity, and it rotates it to face in that direction. So if you have a rocket, you pass in the velocity of the rocket after the rocket's been given a velocity. And then this function here will give you a rotation, so it points in the right direction. So it points in the direction of the velocity. So the grenade will come out facing the right way. It is set to not think. That can't be right. Oh, I see. It's going to get overridden. Okay, yeah, it's getting overridden down here. So, yeah, by default, it's set to not think, which is a little weird. But it gets overridden. And the time that the grenade goes off is equal to this variable here. This variable here is actually set here. So when you pull the pin, that's when it chooses when the grenade goes off. In 0.8 seconds, it calls this function, but it's not until, yeah. And so basically, that's when the grenade's going to go off. Okay. And that's actually preserved. So you can actually hold down right click and pull the pin and hold it in your hand, and it'll go off. If it's still in your hand at that point, it goes off in your hand. If you throw it, then it goes off whenever, this time is set here. We all know Quake isn't that really realistic. I guess. I mean, it's also a gameplay thing, right? Like having a pixel perfect grenade throw would impact the game. It would make grenades more powerful, and they're already pretty powerful. Okay, then we run through a long set of if-else-if statements. So if we're throwing a normal grenade, we do this. If it's a anti-grav grenade, we do this. If it's a napalm, here we go. Here's Merv. And so basically what we're saying is that in 3 seconds, explode. The touch function, I think, does nothing. I don't think that function does anything. Yeah. Oh, if you throw the grenade and it hits a wall, it just plays a plink sound as it bounces off the wall. And if that made it come to a stop, then it stops spinning. Avelocity is your angular velocity. And so when you throw a grenade, oftentimes they spin when you throw them. And so what this says is that if their velocity is now 0 from hitting the wall, then stop spinning, because it looks weird to have the spinning grenade just sitting on the ground like that. So again, more realism for you there. Okay, so yeah, so the touch function basically doesn't do anything. But in 3 seconds, it's going to explode. Yeah, we give it an angular velocity, so it's spinning as you throw it. We give it a model of the big grenade model. So there's only a couple different grenades. The hand grenade 2, hand grenade 2, grenade 2, flare, big grenade. There's only a couple different models for grenades. They do have different skins though. You can set. Yeah. So for the Napalm Grenade and the Merv Grenade are actually the same model, but you can actually change the skin on them, so their colors come out different. So the Napalm Grenade is orange, the Merv Grenade is like red, with like lines on it and stuff like that. The Nail Grenade is white, So you only need to have one model with 3 different skins to make it look different. The anti-grav grenade is skin 1, the caltrop and bio are skin 2, concussion is skin 1, normal is skin 0, 0 is green, 1 is white. Yeah. The flare grenade is a little different. It actually is a flying grenade. It's not a bouncing grenade. So you can actually shoot a flare across the map and light up an area. Okay, so let's look at Merv Grenade Explode. Control-Shift-F. Merv Grenade Explode. And so the Merv Grenade is going to spawn bunches of other grenades. So it's kind of a fun grenade. I is equal to 0, while I is less than the number of Mervs, which is... normally set to be that, which is Control-Shift-F. 4? 4. Yeah. On LAN it spawns 12, but for Quake World it spawns 4. Okay. So it's going to spawn 4 grenades. So while I is less than 4, launch a grenade, I equals I plus 1. So 4 times it is going to launch a grenade. And this function here picks a random direction. And so it shoots 4 grenades in random directions, spawns them, sets them to solid, gives their velocity, makes their physics bounce. Extra wider zeter is going to be their velocity. There you go. Extra wider zeter is their velocity. Yeah, this was added in. It's kind of a good idea. Basically, if a Merv grenade explodes in midair, it actually picks up the velocity of the Merv now. This was added in a more recent patch. So, like if you throw the grenade, normally it hits the ground and they just kind of fountain out of it. But with this, if it explodes in midair, then the sub-grenades inherit the velocity of the parent because it's physics, right? Set the model to be a regular grenade. Set the size to be the size of a grenade. Set the origin to be this. And yeah, and so that's how you make a Merv grenade. Let's just show you guys what that looks like real fast. The TF has a flare grenade. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that was something that they added in to the sniper class. Do snipers get it in TF2? Really? Interesting. Give a man. All right. Oh, demo man get high jump. I forgot about that. You see how high I jump? Okay. So this is what I was talking about, Dolan. You can shoot pipe bombs, and then hit comma, and then it'll go off. So you can trap. You can set traps for people. And then when they walk out, boom, instant death. Okay, so grenade, regular grenade. I'm cooking it, I'm cooking it, I'm cooking it. And it goes off in my hands. No, Kearney, you're supposed to throw the grenade. Middle click, Merv Grenade, 1, 1002, 1003. Do you see how they inherited the velocity from the Merv? Whereas normally, they'll just sort of fountain. Yeah. It's kind of a cool effect. It's kind of a cool effect. Do you guys want to see what it looked like originally back in the day? Back in the early 90s? So a lot of these things are kind of lame now because we care about things like networking and like not crashing the server and stuff like that. So recompiled. Cool. So with 12 grenades now. A lot more impressive. The main cause of server crashing is exceeding. Yeah, it's actually really nice. The modern version is kind of lame compared to that. Like it's a veritable fountain of grenades. Right. Those unfortunately had to be removed just for not crashing purposes. So the server has a limited. It's really powerful too. The server has a limited number of entity slots, and if you ever exceed the number of entity slots, the game crashes. So you try spawning something when there's no slots left, then death happens. And so this grenade here is spawning 12. The limit's around 300, something like that. And so basically you need to be very cautious with this sort of stuff. Okay. So limiting, the number of pipe bombs in the world is limited at 20. The number of ammo boxes in the world is limited at 6. The number of grenades that come out of a Merv is limited at 4, and there's a limit on the number of spam grenades that can be in the world at once. There's been a lot of work done by me and other people over the years to make sure it doesn't crash, right? And so when you make your mod, one thing you just have to be cautious of is how many different entities you spawn at once. Hit scan weapons are fine. Laser gun, Scuba Gear, KGB officer legs, light armor, hologram, tossable demolition pack, Frag Grenade, gas grenade. I don't have enough gas grenade. Oh, let's drop from KGB officer legs to Black Mamba legs. You'll also notice that I price the spam grenades fairly high. So any of the grenades that are spammy get a much higher price, right? Crack grenades were taken from Warhammer, and they're an anti-armor grenade. They destroy armor, but they don't hurt health, and they're really good at killing. Sentry guns. So even though we have Jello armor on, I bought a Scuba Gear, so I can now swim in the water. So Scuba Gear allows you to swim through Jello water, and also you notice how you don't really sink. Scuba Commandos can tread water, and they can also breathe indefinitely underwater. So Scuba Commando was in the patch notes for the original Team Fortress back in 1996 or so, and they said coming soon in the Scuba Commando, and then they never did it. So so I implemented it. So you can see I can just sit there and hover underwater indefinitely, and the reason why Scuba Commando exists is because Robin Walker and the other guys in Australia, when they were playing Team Fortress, one of their friends apparently would just hide in the lake the whole time and just yell Scuba Commando, and kill people that fell into the lake, and that was like his thing. So I actually implemented it because I thought it'd be fun. How's the max amount of entities determined? It's actually a hardware limitation. It's actually in the server code itself. Okay, so here is a Frag Grenade. So Frag Grenade shoots out shrapnel. I don't know if you can see that. Let's try another one. So it shoots out a cloud of nails. I don't know if you guys can see that. Ow. And so frag grenades I made because I wanted a grenade that behaved like grenades do in real life. If you were to have a grenade in this game, like a regular grenade, explode here, and you're standing here, you take no damage because you're on the backside of a wall, right? But I was like, look, the shockwave would go around, you know what I mean? So I wanted to have a grenade that could go around walls like this. You couldn't just like line of sight a grenade, right? Like if I threw a grenade here, I shouldn't be able to stand here and take no damage whatsoever, right? The gas grenade, by the way, will hurt you. Oh, it won't. I'm a Scuba Commando. Yes. I forgot about that. There's your realism. There's your realism. Scuba Commandos have a scuba mask on. So they actually can breathe. They can actually breathe through the tear gas. That is too funny. Yeah, it's just a little nod to realism. And so what this does, the gas grenade is just an area denial thing. And so people that walk out through it, they take damage as they're in the cloud. And so basically you can just force people to like leave an area, right? And so like everyone in that particle effect takes damage except me because I'm a Scuba Commando. Scuba Commando, Scuba Commando. Yeah. Yep. And yeah. So anyway, so let me show you the volumetric grenade I made called the Frag Grenade. Oop. Okay, let me stand around the corner here. And I died. You see that? Even though I didn't have line of sight, what happens is it shoots out a bunch of nails, and those nails reflect around walls and things like that. So a nail around the corner hits a wall, then it bounces off, and it bounces off, and it bounces off. And so if you're close to it, oh, not a gas grenade. So if you're close to it, you see how those things are just bouncing around. They bounce horizontally, by the way, so. So they bounce like a maximum of like 3 or 4 times, something like that. But like you can toss it and kill people around a corner, which I thought was pretty cool. See that? So I always wanted to have a volumetric grenade. The trouble is like spawning all of those entities is very expensive, you know? And so I really had to work hard to make sure that, like, if I keep clicking, the number of spam grenades is limited in the world, right? Okay. All right. So yeah. So the things we learned today: find radius, timer, 3 spawn. So when you spawn something, Merv Grenade launch, give a move type, velocity, model, size, origin, solid. So this is actually a good masterclass and just like the kinds of things you can do whenever you make a spawn. Whenever you spawn something, these are kind of the things you can set on it. Who owns you? What physics it should use? Does it obey gravity? Does it not obey gravity? There's only a couple different, and these are actually limitations in the engine itself. So that's definitely an area where you can maybe have room for improvement in the idTech 1 engine. It's got 12 different movement types. So, yeah. And so you can't make new ones, at least in Quake C. Okay. Where were we? Okay, so random returns a number from 0 to 1. And so 150 times 0 to 1 will be a number from 0 to 150. Subtract 75, that'll give you a number from negative 75 to positive 75. And so the direction that the Merv grenades go is variable in the X direction, the Y direction. And then from Z, it just goes from 0 to 40. So it'll have a little bit of vertical or not. It doesn't go down though. So that makes an entity. That sets the owner, that sets the physics type on it, that says it's solid. That's the class. This sets the death message on it so that you know what kind of weapon killed you. Touch and think are really important. So touch is when it touches something in the world, and think takes place then. So the grenades go off at a random amount of time. You notice the Merv grenades didn't all explode at the same time. So there's a little bit of randomness added to that. And so in between 0 and 1.75 seconds, the sub grenade will explode. And when it explodes, when that time happens, it calls grenade explode. Okay. And grenade explode is somewhere. Just grenade explode. Exact match. Thank you. There we go. So grenade explode does radius damage, 120 radius damage. Again, there's fall off. So people near take more, people further away take less. The size of the radius, again, depends on the amount of damage. It then broadcasts to all the clients that are within the potential hearable set. In other words, everybody that could possibly see it or hear it will get this broadcasted to them, and nobody else will. So if you're on the other side of the world, it won't transmit to you. It then removes itself. Okay. So deremove. So, yeah, if you were to take out this deremove Vacular, this would probably crash the server, right? Because eventually all those zombie entities would accumulate, and then you would get a server crash saying max entities exceeded. Okay. If it's a pipe bomb, we keep track of how many pipe bombs there are in the world so we can cap them. So there can't be more than that. It's a feature. Yeah. All right, so that's it for today, guys. I'll throw up a little quiz on this kind of stuff just to see if you understand these concepts here. And that's it. So work on your mods. Work on your mods. Get them done. All right. I want to see those mods. Was it next week or 4 weeks or something like that? I don't know. So work on it with your teams, and then think up your whatever kind of mod project. We're going to play again on Tuesday. And as you play, just think about what you like, what you don't like. Was it Span that quit earlier? What did you not like, Span? What was frustrating you about it? Defense is hard because you know the game. Yeah. That's how it is. That's how it is. Yeah. And I was also kind of being a jerk. I was building defenses in your base, so you'd respawn and walk out, and a sentry gun would kill you. But that's honestly how I play the game. I typically play offensive engineers. I like finding parts of the enemy base that the enemy are not in, and heavily fortifying them. And then when I run the flag, I dip through there. And they try following me in, they all die, and then I can run the flag. This is my go-to strategy. It's a former TF2 player who last played in 2019. I was confused. Yeah, just play the soldier if you're confused. But honestly, maybe next time just play the custom class and just try out the different options in there, stuff like that. That's it for today, guys. Like I said, I'll just put up a little quiz in a few minutes. And then, yeah. It's a little Quake C quiz, see if you can kind of understand the basics. And then we'll start coding stuff probably next week. All right. That's it for today. I was figuring out how to place a turret. Yeah, you can build a sentry gun and you can turretize it. And then it'll flip upside down and attach to the roof. It's one of the things I'm proud of, I guess. Getting that to work right. It's kind of hard. It looks cool having these turrets on the underside of the base. Looks neat. All right, that's it for today, guys. I will see you later.